Alright, let's just get to it, huh? Blue-white Spooky Spirits. This was an archetype that Jumpstart printed a bunch of new cards into. So we've got Rattlechains here. A new one to Historic. Flying Flash. Other spirits you can cast as though they have Flash. And then when Rattlechains enters the battlefield, target spirit you control gets hexproof, so it can protect your threats. Hey, Boston, thanks for the tip. I appreciate that. Nebelgast Herald was another excellent addition. 2 spirits from Jumpstart and Historic. Whenever it or another spirit enters the battlefield under you control, tap target creature and opponent controls. Nebelgast Herald allows you to win races that you have no business winning with a deck like this. So Nebelgast Herald allows you to tap down your opponent's stuff so they can't attack you. And then the entirety of our threats basically are evasive threats. So if you're just like tapping down their biggest thing every turn and then attacking them in the air, it's very easy to win most races. And then we also got Kira, Great Glass Spinner, out of Jumpstart. Creatures you control have, whenever this becomes a target of spell or ability, the first time each turn, counter that spell or ability. One thing that's a common misconception with Kira that's important to know is that an assumption a lot of people make is that if they have Rattlechains in play, they can flash Kira in response to a removal spell to stop the removal, and that's not how it works. Kira has to be in play when your opponent puts the removal on the stack for Kira's trigger to happen. So if you want to stop removal with Kira, you need to get it into play sooner rather than later if you have Rattlechains in play. One card we're trying today, this is a viewer submission of Spirit, so it's a little bit different than what's up on my website. We'll see if we end up changing what's on my website based on our gameplay today. We're trying some Watcher of the Spheres, 2/2 flyer for 2. Other creatures, balls of flying you cast cost 1 less. Whenever another creature with flying enters the battlefield under your control, this gets +1/+1. So card could be a little bit aggressive, lets you pressure, lets you play some of your top end for cheaper. This build's playing 1 less land in the build on my site, for example. So let's go ahead and pop on in here and see how it goes. The link for Yarok Field in the queue is the same as Jeskai Control. Sure. Forget to update that. The Yarok Field list is on my website. I'll update that now. Thanks for the heads up. I am skeptical that Yarok Field will continue to be competitive in Historic. There's a chance we take it down off the site. And Boston's donation was to add Naya Feather to the queue. Sounds good. That'll get added up after I'm done today. This is fine. Needs a third land, but otherwise fine. We go Sailor on 1, Sailor on 2. Our best possible draws are like Lord or land into the 3-mana Lord. Perfect. There's the Lord I wanted for Christmas. I think I want to go triple 1-drop into Supreme Phantom here. Yeah, definitely, Sunshine. My tier 3s can definitely submit builder own decks. Keep in mind, I don't always say yes to all builder-owned submissions. Sometimes it's just like, nope, there's nothing I can do with that. But if there's something reasonable there, I can definitely build something. Discard spell here is the downside to waiting on my Lord. I'm really glad that they ported that bug over for Magic Online. This game's a lot easier when you just draw what they took away. Sweeper's gonna hurt here. They missed their third land drop, right? So we should be good. There's a third land drop. Okay, so I think we're not playing Great Glass Spinner because of like a Ritualist next turn. So we'll just go ahead and smack them for 7 and we'll pass, holding up Nebelgast Herald to flash in. Now, obviously, if they're on spot removal, I'm going to wish I put Kira into play, but I think I'm more likely to beat spot removal than I am to beat a sweeper. So I'm going to elect to play around a sweeper here. I mean, to be fair, if I would have played Kira there, she would have lived, right? Because it's a 3-3. Thanks, Amblin. Glad you did. Ah, creature decks. Ah, creature decks. This is a really good draw. Lethal threat, counterspell. Let's go. Wow, they're flipped as Kint already. I'm gonna let this resolve so they can lose a life. Makes my 1 damage. Spirits lethal. I assume they have a removal spell for this Shacklegeist. Wow, and it gains them life. Brutal. And they were only able to do that because they flipped the Azcanta. Rough. And I think we're going to quickly slide into garbage time here. Opponent's going to have Search for Azcanta going, which is going to let them stabilize very quickly. Generate a lot of card advantage. One card I'm really looking forward to getting out of Amonkhet is that Censor. Should be a sweet addition to a lot of these archetypes. Main deck Witch's Vengeance. They have Witch's Vengeance, Cry of the Canarium, and Languish all in their main deck. Teferi would be great in this matchup, they said, against the opponent who literally hasn't played an instant at instant speed. Take your 10-minute break and enjoy it. They whiffed on the Azcanta activation. It's kind of funny. What is their win con? Have no idea. So much garbage time. It's garbage time. Do 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 do. Would not be surprised to see another sweeper happen here. I'm gonna concede. Not having any fun. Kira seems really bad against their deck that's only sweepers. Bring in a couple more counter spells, I suppose. They really didn't have much spot removal, so they're going to trim that. We'll bring in Stroke and an extra dispute, some Strokes and extra dispute. Can someone fix that ban? It was supposed to be a timeout. I haven't had different colored frames in months. Yeah, I got a good curve. Just need to draw a spell at some point. Alright, it's a good spell. Dacha, thanks for the 10 months. I appreciate it. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Maybe I didn't need to counter that. It was only killing Spectral Sailor. I might have been wrong. Yeah, killing them sooner rather than later is definitely ideal. Like, I think if they go to kill my stuff here, I don't know, it's tough. I think I think I have so little action I'm supposed to draw a card with this if they try to sweep again. Mamagato, thank you. Momo Gad Ghetto? Momo Gad Ghetto? Thanks for the quarter of a year. Dispute. The opponent on mono removal. Yeah, this is the first thing we've seen in 2 games that's resembled a win condition. Nah, I'm playing Nebelgast Herald to tap this. Alright. I mean, they're not playing Into the God Eternals for the 4/4 rate. They're playing it to kill my thing and gain life, which it did very appropriately. Hey, Alkalal, thanks for the 31 months. I appreciate the very generous tier 3. Haven't touched standard. Historic's been, oh, I haven't really played enough to have a good measure on things. There aren't really super consistent results or events to pull results from. Yeah, I feel like people complaining about Field of the Dead are probably playing something similar to what's going on the other side of the board here. Well, I don't even know if that's true, right? I guess they don't have any win conditions. I have Ugin. Like, Ugin's actually, like, really good against Field of the Dead. Like, we've talked about it a few times. Like, I don't think Field of the Dead is even in the top. I think it's, like, the third best ramp path in this format. I think it's worse than both Ugin and Ulamog. Shadow Rail, thanks for the 29 months. I don't know. It just made me chuckle that, like, there was the post from the professor the other day with people asking about, like, who are some of the greatest minds in Magic that are good, like, both playing the game and evaluating stuff. And it was just, like, people listed a bunch of folks that were just, like, consistently wrong about, like, what cards are going to be overbearing in formats. And it's just, like, I don't know. So, like things... Posts like that are always kind of silly in my mind because it's just a list of people who like of people that they like. There's like no objective measures of skill or anything like that. In a game that has as much variance as Magic, it's hard to have truly objective measures. Well, so Field of the Dead has inevitability. So Ugin and Massacre Worm are definitely real things. The other sweepers just kind of like stall the board if you don't have a way to actually close the game out. Hit top 200 with ramp, and my opponents conceded to my Ugins 99% of the time, while Field they had some time with. Yeah. Yep, yep. You have Field with 4th as Nissa being number 3. I don't know if I really count Nissa. I feel like I might disagree there. I don't know. I don't have too strong feelings on it either way. I think we just try and kill them. Unless we get Witches. Even if we get Witch's Vengeance tier, they're only killing 2 of our 3 things. No one is good at evaluating cards. I think that's a stretch. I think a lot of players, even good players' desires to deliver lazy hot takes for the sake of generating clicks frequently means that they give poor evaluations of things. I have a very good hit rate on evaluating cards because I try my best to not be lazy about my evaluations. I try my best to be conservative with them and make things very clear, like, hey, we need more information on this. I use words like likely. I try to avoid extreme certainty because you just can't have extreme certainty. Sure, yeah, and then there's cards like Once Upon a Time, right? Where, like, I believe my exact words when Once Upon a Time was spoiled were, whatever this card is pre-ordering for, it's not enough. Buy them. Three-hour long streams of people looking at spoilers are miserable content. I mean, there's a lot of people that really enjoy that content. So, like, while it's not for you and it's not for me, there's other people that like that. I think you could talk about the different reasons why people like that kind of content. I'm of the opinion that a lot of people like watching review streams like that because they like watching people make predictions that are likely to be bad. I feel like this deck is bad mono blue tempo. Can you articulate your reasons why you feel that is bombs? Can you explain yourself rather than just dropping your pants and taking a dump on a deck that someone has submitted to the stream? Help us learn. Don't just shit on people. Goblins is everywhere in Historic. That's been my experience for the last 4 days. My experience for the last 4 days is that there have been very, very minimal number of Goblin decks in the ladder. I guess I'm just bringing in a couple of counter spells. So, I actually agree with your premise, Bombs, but I'm going to disagree with your breakdown there, and this is important. So, Bomb said they think this deck is worse than Mono Blue because it's trying to do the same thing as Mono Blue, but it's not consistent. So the issue with what you've said there is that's not descriptive. What does not consistent mean? So articulate your position. So, for example, I think while the game plan of playing your flashy things out and attacking your opponent with evasive threats is very similar to Mono Blue, I agree with that. I think the thing that causes this archetype to not be as powerful as Mono Blue is the fact that this archetype, what's the word I'm searching for, is the fact that this archetype doesn't have a way to generate card advantage. So if you think about some of the best draws that Mono Blue has, it involves getting an endless flow of cards going with something like Curious Obsession, right? Whereas like this deck is looking to try and kind of go wide, which I guess to be fair, and again, this is why, like, you hear me explaining what the decks are doing and what could possibly be better or worse, and as I explain it and talk through it, it becomes easier to draw meaningful conclusions. So, thinking about that, I don't think that makes this deck strictly worse than Mono Blue so much as it makes it different. It's very easy to say, well, both decks play flying creatures and some counter spells, so they're the same thing. I do think that this deck, compared to Mono Blue, definitely has a much worse matchup against decks that are playing a bunch of sweepers. And as we are playing our second match in 2 matches against deck full of sweepers, it's very easy to be a member of Twitch chat and just be like, hey Jeff, this deck's bad because we ran into matchups where it's bad 2 matches in a row. Like that's the very Twitch chat thing to say, is to look at our sample size that N is 2 and be like, well, it's bad because it was worse than Mono Blue in these 2 places. And I think that you're right that Mono Blue is much better in these types of matchups and the game plan is trying to execute is better here, but I don't know that I have a good argument that that game plan is necessarily better against everything. In this matchup, I would side in Disdainful Stroke over Dispute because they wrecked you with Even, Odd, and Nikki B. Can you explain why that reasoning is wrong? Because Mystic Dispute counters Nicol Bolas for 1 mana, and Mystic Dispute also counters their non-blue spells. Mystic Dispute is just cancel that's sometimes 1 mana. Yeah, a lot of that, like, you know, I often, my normal shtick / joke is, you know, like, this isn't corporate America, this isn't your office, don't just tell me the deck needs more tempo, or it's not consistent enough, or it's not agile. Be descriptive and tell me what's actually happening that makes you want to use that word. And a lot of the time when you do that, it often, you figure it out that, like, that word's not appropriately descriptive. What about Remorseful Cleric over 2 cages? So this is not my deck list. This is a viewer-submitted deck list. They have Cage in the sideboard, I assume for Goblin, so I've got Cage in the sideboard. What graveyard decks are in the format that I want... What graveyard decks are in the format that I want Remorseful Cleric against would be my question to you. Because Cage is largely here. Remorseful Cleric is notably not good against Cat Oven. Cage also stops Bolas's Citadel from working. Spicy McNicken, thanks for the 20 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Is Reanimator a thing in Historic? It is not. So, with cards like Unburial Rites being the reanimation spells that you have access to, generally speaking, in modern Magic design, you're better off just ramping into your bombs than you are trying to set up something and replay things from your graveyard, is how it ends up working out in practice. Grixis Control is not a matchup that wants Stroke. What matchups do? The ramp matchups. Ugin Ulamog decks. Goblins, Disdainful Stroke is good against. It counters Muxus and Krenko, which are their 2 best cards against you. Ramp. Ramp is the primary answer. How's Standard doing with recent ban wave? No idea. I'm not planning to visit Standard on this channel until after the Hooglandia Open. Because even with the Standard bans, the Open's going to be historic, because Amonkhet Remastered is releasing. So it makes sense to have the Open be the format that's getting the new set. This is a great draw, because it lets me hold up Lofty Denial plus Rattlechains here. Yeah, it should just be a Protect the Queen deck here nicely. The Rakdos Pyromancer deck so far has carried me to Platinum. I think this is my first time this high and low. I like the Pyromancer deck a lot. I need to get that one. When next time we play that one, if it feels good again, we're definitely going to put it up on the website. Alright, should just run them over here. So my favorite thing about being here is it changed my way of thinking in relation to strategy. It's made me a better Magic player, Overwatch, etc. What are we trying to do? What are they trying to do? And more importantly, how do we lose from here and stop it? Yeah. Exactly. Stop it! Bad opponent. Just gonna attack for 6 here rather than 9, because I have lethal next turn with this anyways. And this way, if they have, like, land, sweeper, dispute for my counter, I can stop it. I can pay for the dispute. Was it good for you, opponent? It was good for me. my spirits to be extinct. Stop it. Remember that time we played around Sweeper Dispute, chat? Remember that time we played around Sweeper Dispute? Knocking them down. This stream was pre-recorded in front of a live Twitch audience. Yeah, I think Swift's response is great. Yeah, we've got Jeskai Control in the deck queue that should be up tomorrow or Saturday, I believe. And you're playing some Swift responses in there for sure. Bullshit. Definitely bottoming a 3-drop here. Well, I guess it's castable with Watcher of the Spheres. Just Guy Control. Sounds good, puppy. Thinking about Shark Typhoon, is it still a good card after Jeffrey's rotation? Yeah, for reference, Shark Typhoon is seeing play in like Modern and Legacy too. Believe it or not, cards that sometimes kill your opponent, that say draw a card on them, are generally speaking very good. I think that adding Curious Obsession or Curiosity over threats would improve the deck. Instead of me telling you your idea is bad, can you tell me why it's good? Why do you think adding those cards would improve my deck? What issue do I have that you're solving? And what cards are you cutting for them? Why is adding Curious Obsession to this deck better than just playing the mono blue deck? Dead of Bird, thanks for the 25 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Shark Typhoon and Logic Knot is my kink in Modern right now. That's funny. He is like Delve for Infinite, make a giant shark boy. Your move, Yugi boy. This is all we got. Our opponent cast 0 spells and died. Alright, I just assume they're a ramp deck and board in some Disdainful Strokes here, right? I think I'm just doing that for now. I think less is more. Are we sure they weren't done, Esper? Asking the real questions. Asking the real questions. Correct, yeah, going back to card evaluations. Shark Tornado. Easy one to pick out for people that know. Have good card evaluation skills. I did see that. The New York AG is filing to have the NRA dissolved for 14 cases of tax fraud. God bless America. To be fair to you, Bombs, I cut people who are newer subs a little bit more slack. Like, if someone with a mod sword had asked your question, I would have just timed them out. but Twitch as a culture in general doesn't often encourage people to ask deeper, better questions. So, in a way, I'm trying to train people in the community to get out of them what I want to get out of them, essentially, if that makes sense. This card is so good against us. This is actually pretty punishing for playing Brazen Borrower out, right? If I would have flashed in Nebelgast Herald there, I would have been able to Borrower bounce the token. So maybe that's something to keep in mind for future sequencing decisions. Twitch encourages people to spew in chat because it promotes engagement. Yeah, right? I think it's going to be really interesting to see how social media and especially money surrounding social media evolves as these communities and cultures evolve. Because as someone who's an influencer, that word, I hate that word, but it's what the word that we use in these spaces, I think a lot of these companies that pay people to promote things don't understand what metrics actually translate into an influencer being valuable. Nathan Brown, thanks for the 26 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Like, a good example is a lot of advertising offers I've dealt with often have bonuses or payment thresholds based on the number of followers that a Twitch channel will have. And it'll be like, well, like, my channel has 70, almost 70,000 followers, but like my average viewer count day to day is more than a number of people who have like well into the 6 figures worth of followers, right? Not to mention you can like literally pay to boost followers very easily in a lot of places. That's why you see a really organic way to artificially boost followers is things like Gleam, right? Where you give people raffle stuff to, you give people raffle items, or chances at raffles to follow you on different platforms that they don't actually use. All the shillings, burn, baby, burns. Yarok Field? And some kind of Sultai Field Brew. I guess these are cards that I haven't played in Yarok Field. That we're not going to be playing coming up next. I have found the key to asking dumb questions in this channel is to be patient with myself and take time to ask good questions rather than rattling off my first unformed thought. Yeah. No, yeah, I agree with Crappy Lawyer. I also think, like, again, that's why it's tough. It's tough to track. Malevolence, thanks for the 7 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. The industry as a whole is also just very new as well, right? Like, all things considered, like compared to all other forms of media, making videos on a place like Twitch is relatively new to like the advertising industry. I think we're probably dead at this point. Kaz, thank you for the very generous tier 3 resub. I appreciate the 27 months. Welcome back. Where do the Keck W's go? where do I put my Keck W's in Hoaglandia? I don't know what to do. Hey, I appreciate that. And tier 3s, if you're not familiar, they get to put a deck in the queue every month. So if you have a historic or Runeterra deck list you'd like to get queued up, feel free to submit it through the form on my website as a thank you for that top level of support. Go ahead and draw a card now. See if we draw a 2-drop. Did not. It's been a lot of sweepers so far today. A lot of sweepers. Johnny Hotbox, thanks for the 9 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Am I changing how I'm sideboarded? I feel like the answer is no. I think the amount of sweepers is because goblins is the deck to beat. People keep talking about goblins we're a casual garbage stream here down in Platinum. Like, are people who are in Mythic already, are they just only playing against goblins? Because people keep asking me about goblins, I just, like, have not seen them anywhere. Like, where are people playing it on the ladder that, like, their experience is a bunch of goblins? Because the last week in Platinum has not been that. Hey, it's Jace says they're currently in the top 200. They played against it 1 in 12. Yeah, I'm like I've often said, as an adult who is frequently wrong and able to admit it, I think and honestly, it goes to show how difficult it is to evaluate things in Magic. I think there's a chance that Goblins is fine because people are able to play more interaction now because Teferi's no longer legal. Like, there's a very real chance that, like, Muxus is not a big deal anymore because people are allowed to play interaction. Weens, thanks for the tier 2. I appreciate the 31 months. Welcome back. You have a preferred percentage to aim for, and you want to cast Land War Elves on 1. Yeah, I actually, so Frank Karsten's Mana Math article is considered, like, a good baseline, but in my opinion, I think his numbers are actually kind of on the low side. So a lot of his metrics, I believe, are like for 90% consistency, and I think missing 1 in 10 is a little high. So usually I personally try to aim a little bit higher than what he recommends. 95% certainty. More, when in doubt, more is better. Watcher making Imperial Eagle cheaper here is huge. Lets me cast my Lord and still hold up Lofty Denial, which is big. I'm actually just going to go ahead and counter this here. Because there's a good chance with that out, they're going to be able to just have... Gotta dodge, Languish, and Sweepers here. And maybe I'm supposed to hold that, but, like, there's a good chance, like, if they get Oracle going, they get enough mana that they just double spell and kill me anyways. Or double land to kill me anyways. Like, if they had Oracle in play that turn, my opponent could have had 8 lands in play this turn and played Languish through my counter 4. So, like, I know it feels god-awful to play my creature deck against a sweeper deck, but, like, I don't think it's necessarily wrong to play my thing out there. And to counter their Oracle Moldiah. Melodic Lyrics, thank you for the tier 3 and for your 11 months. Welcome back. Let's gain some life, right? Good golly. So we're like super dead. At least Field of the Dead's not making zomboys and girls yet. Saving Grace. Next land drop at will, that's different. We have to draw a card with Spectral Sailor at least. Getting close, Lyrics. Right on time, Disdainful Stroke. Welcome to the party. So far, our deck, we're 1 and 2 against decks playing a whole bunch of sweepers and spot removal. Matchup does not feel particularly good. Definitely think our kind of go wide deck here is much worse against these decks full of sweepers than something like Mono Blue Tempo is. I did use both my keys, Bicky. I appreciate the reminder, though. I definitely... I've been, like, trying to wait to use my second key till it flips affinity. And I forgot to check yesterday before I went live. Gonna be a little bit greedy and keep both the lords here. Lordy, lordy, lordy. So it looks like the, this matchup's probably pretty hard. Like, they're gonna build a Voltron, and we, like, have basically no interaction for it. Yeah, like, how do I ever beat this card? Right? Like, I feel... Like, I feel like this style of deck is part of why these decks full of sweepers and spot removal have been so popular. Can you apply democracy to make it happen sooner? The variety segments are going to get added back in after the open in 10 days, Panda. So that week of the 17th, we'll have 1 or 2 variety segments in there probably. And I'm gonna just play things from the variety segment from the variety queue from the top down. Wanted to take a couple of weeks leading into the open to focus on Magic stuff for the most part. Magic and Runeterra. Oh, it even flies now? Yikes. Could Sephara and the sideboard be a solution? So the problem with Sephara is that, one, Sephara doesn't actually stop any of the sweepers we played against today. We played against Exile and --/ sweepers. And 2, she's just really clunky and expensive, and taking a turn off from attacking to play it is really awkward. Doing this now while they don't have mana for Iliad up. This sends the all that glitters to the graveyard at least. Thanks, Mono. Yeah, I know my schedule's been a little bit hectic, sporadic, changed at the last minute a little bit more than I personally care for with swings and Magic and variety stuff, but we should be getting back into more of my regular groove again moving forward. I was actually kind of surprised at the amount of feedback from people that like the variety segments on the sub-surveys, so that's good. Those will definitely be coming back once we, once we get past the open. Feel like it's probably counterspells out. I guess Kira Glass Spinner's probably not great. So maybe we'll leave in extra Lofty Denials as counterspells. Unbanned Twin! Thanks for the 31 months. I appreciate it. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Yeah, I think after this set today, where things have been on the ladder for a little bit, I'm gonna demote this one on the website to fan favorite from high potential. And to be fair, that doesn't mean it's unplayable. It just means like it's got matchups that aren't good. Like the Yarok field deck that we're gonna play after this is like my baby, and it definitely belongs in the fan favorite section. We're keeping Shacklegeist. This tapping down their big thing seems very powerful. This is a decent piece of removal as well. Hey, Kevin, thanks for 13 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Sorry to hear that, Quilcy. I'm interested to see. I'm interested to see what signups end up looking like for this next open. The previous open was the smallest one that we had to date, but the viewer count was still good. And it's hard to tell too. Like we added an entry fee to the last one, so the entry fee could definitely be a bit of a deterrent as well for some people. I don't know. I feel like if we get at least like 70, 80 people, I'm pretty happy with that turnout. Hey, J-Ray, thanks for the tip. I appreciate the support. Let's get Red Black Pyro for the quest for the Hoglande website. Sounds great. That's a staggering insight, yep. Yeah, there was that too. Like, how Jumpstart was handled was almost certainly deterrent to some people. We're gonna be able to buy packs of Amonkhet Remastered. Thank you, Wizards of the Coast, for letting us buy booster packs. When you've been so hurt by a card acquisition model that being allowed to buy booster packs looks appealing. Easy denial here. Maybe that was the secret ploy behind Jumpstart the whole time, right? They didn't let us buy packs of Jumpstart so that way the booster pack process would start to look good again. It's like, this is the alternative, nerds. You love booster packs. Shut up and buy them. Venthrax, thanks for the 12 months. Let's get you a sword to go with that shield. Thanks for keeping me around. Yep. I'm gonna take my 2-for-1 here, I think. Could get Spell Pierced. Yeah, that's like a real thing, Shroud Lord. You figure out what you're willing to do, and then you make what you tell the customers you're going to do 2 to 3 steps worse than what you know you're actually willing to do. And then when you publish the bad idea, the community gets outraged, and then you've listened to feedback and made it better by putting it to what it should have been at a bare minimum in the first place. Whilst collecting points for being listening and caring. Yeah, this looks good. Nebelgast Herald, Borrower, Settle the Wreckage all seem good here. You just described World of Warcraft's new content model. Oh yeah, that's not something that's limited to Wizards of the Coast by any means. Like what I just described is very common practice in lots of parts of capitalism. That is a feature. It's not a bug. That is intentional. It's a common cognitive bias called anchoring bias. They use it for sales as well. Oh yeah, yep, definitely. Rat Racer, thank you for the 13 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Really surprised they are tapping out for this year. I guess they get a hit and draw card, but like my Brazen Borrower is about to just like dumpster them. Like they're not losing card advantage, I guess, but they're gonna lose a ton of tempo, right? Sure. Maybe I'm supposed to hold up Settle here rather than Nebelgast Herald. I'm gonna do this now before the All That Glitters is attached to this, because when All That Glitters gets attached to this, Kamatra's Blessing will grant hexproof to stop me from tapping it. So if I diddle the Spirit Dancer before it's enchanted, they can't give it hexproof with Blessing. Please veto rock my world. Thank you for the biddies, Beansy. I appreciate it. Happy to get that one added. So we've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 here currently. So if I draw a Lord, we can kill them next turn. He says before his opponent plays a lifelink enchantment. This is the danger of playing the Nebelgast Herald proactively like I did. AMGG, thank you for the 23 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. We've got 2 thumbs and dice to spell pierce. This guy right here. Am I supposed to leave spirits untapped to tap their things down? Maybe I'm supposed to leave Supreme Phantom untapped there. Yeah, that's probably what we're supposed to do, is leave the Supreme Phantom untapped. I guess I need to leave more than that untapped. Because they have 2 lethal attackers, potentially 3 with the Ornithopter. I don't know, it's tough. You gotta balance between, like, not dying on the backswing, but also killing them. If they don't have a Spell Pierce, the Settle is very good. The problem is they saw Settle in the last game, so it's something they could be thinking about. Well, they definitely had Pearson against us when we settled them earlier. Yep, yep. The white enchantment deck seems very good against everybody that's trying to reset. It has a lot of lifelink and very large things. Underperforming so far, Swallow Baggin. The enchantments aggro matchup felt hard. The decks full of removal have felt hard. It's been a rough set for the old spooky boys and girls. Hey, look, another deck full of languishes. Ooh, combo deck maybe? Or just Esper playing cantrips. Could be Kisis, yep. Doom Foretold wouldn't want to play this. Yeah, it smells like Kisis. Kisis without Teferi. Opponent. Yeah, that's another way to put it, Rhino. The matches against the good decks have felt kind of hard. That's pretty punishing for not playing Kira. I guess we'll get her down next turn. Wiggly, thanks for the quarter of a year. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Happy Blur's Day. Yeah, Denial's the best draw in our deck, not close. Yeah, Emery's gonna get to recast the Sphere, but at least it won't be a Mox. Alright, opponent, do your thing. I would like to attack. Alright, so I feel like with Teferi not existing anymore, we probably trim Dispute in this matchup. Shacklegeist probably isn't super relevant. I think I want some Baffling Ends and a couple of cages. This is a Kira matchup. They have Othakaya. Leave one Kira in. She's a little slow. Melodic Lyric with the sub-gifties. Thank you very much, and happy Blur's Day to you. Welcome to our newest members of Hoaglandia. Remember, if you're not quite sure what to do with your newfound gift of speech, the mods are happy to assist with complimentary timeouts. How's Magic been feeling post-ban? I haven't gotten much. Happen I value your input on it. Well, I mean, to step over the incredibly low bar, it's much better without Teferi. I think it's much too early to have meaningful or informed opinions on anything in Historic, and also at the same baseline, it's tough to the format's about to change some too, right? Some of these decks will obviously still be great, but we're about to get another 300 cards injected into this format, many of which are very playable, right? What does this format look like with Hazoret and Ramunap runes and, a Braid? God Pharaoh's Gift. Is what's his name gonna be playable? The Scarab God, Glory Banger. The aggro with all the ephemeral units. I think I called it just ephemeral aggro. Golgali. If I recall correctly. Idiot. Thank you for the 8 months. I appreciate the 2/3 of a year. Welcome back. Any good decks for mono white aggro / life gain? Yeah, that's one of the many archetypes you can find up on my website, bums. Search aggro or just white on the right side. Should pop right up for you. Yeah, goblins didn't get touched. The only cards that were banned in Historic were Teferi Time Raveler and Wilderness Reclamation. So the two cards we house banned from the last Hoaglandia Open are now officially banned. Now, something to take note of here. My opponent did flip over a Ruinous Blast here, which is a little scary. So kind of have to think about how much I want to commit to the board here, because we could get blasted next turn. I feel like at that point, 10-ton hammer, you should probably just be playing the mono blue deck. Or mono blue, some things like the mono blue tempo, essentially. Is Muxus going to be banned in the next open? No. The upcoming open will just be normal Historic. I've seen nothing in this format so far that indicates Muxus is too strong of a card. Yeah, looks like we might have had a disconnect here. Could you bump up your voice volume? Are the in-game sounds too loud? Are there other people that think the in-game sounds are too loud? I feel like if my voice volume was an issue, somebody else would have said something by now. No, it's fine. I'd recommend turning up your system volume. Nope. Yep. All right. Good. We've been live for an hour and a half, and my levels are at the same they basically always are. Like I say, if anything, the game sounds are multiple dB underneath me, which is where I intend them to be. So they can Ruinous Blast me next turn. I think I'm just playing Nebelgast out, because I want to add pressure to encourage them to Ruinous Blast me. Other channels are louder than yours over all volume. That must be something on Twitch's end or on your end, because for reference, my microphone is literally clipping. I frequently right now that's me bumping into the red. I mean, just because I'm loud doesn't mean there aren't audio settings that also interfere and adjust with it. Like, I can sit here and speak at the exact same level and take my... See? Like, it's not just about me. Like, there's a computer aspect to it, too. Like, I didn't stop talking at the same level at any point in there. I just took the dB slider and slid it around. Charles Kyle, thanks for the 25 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Yeah, I had a compressor on the microphone for a little bit, but the compressor's interaction alongside RTX voice was not great. Charles Kyle, thanks for the 25 months. Black Sheep for real, thanks for the 15. And we could be dead here, right? Yeah, they can't ruin his blast, so I'm just gonna like cast some spells and auto pass here now. Watch them vigorously masturbate for your pleasure at home. When you mess around with the sliders, you have to take one headphone off and only respond to DJ Hugol. There are 29 cards in their deck. Have they haven't hit a Mox yet, right? Which is like our saving grace. Spell Stutter Tyke, thank you for cashing in those shillings. I'll get that bumped up after I'm done today. Okay, for those of you that are taking notes at home on the Kisis deck, don't play it if you can't hit a Mox in the top 2/3 of your deck. Just, you know. Those of you that want to be professional Kisis gamers. Mox in the top 2/3 of your deck is a requirement, generally speaking. Have you considered shuffling better? For the people that keep talking about adding cards that draw cards to this deck is supposed to be a go-wide aggro deck, and if you think being a go-wide aggro deck isn't good in this style of archetype, that's fine. I think you might be right, but I don't think the solution is to turn this into a bad version of Blue Tempo. I think you'd rather just play Blue Tempo instead. Yeah, this is an aggro deck. Like, I get that it has a couple of counter spells in it, but like, it's not anywhere near the level of like what blue. This isn't a protect the queen deck. Maybe I'm supposed to counter this. I'm gonna do this and put them dead in 2. Yeah, they have white, so they could have a sweeper here. Someone was asking earlier what the Disdainful Strokes are for. This matchup right here is what they're for. Let's do it. Let's do it, and do it, and do it, and do it again. It's 8 ramp for breakfast last time we played. It did. We did, however, lose to a more control-based ramp deck earlier today. Had a lot of interaction and sweepers in it. Messed us up pretty good. The more Ugin, the linear ramp decks that are just trying to Ugin you and don't play spot removal should be good matchups for us. No, I don't have any VR equipment. Is there anything that encompasses Magic in 2020 more than my 3 lands to their 6? It's like a big Magic mood. Yeah, at least there's no Grazer to block my flyer. Good call. It's a little things, right? Was our gorgeous. Are we winning this race? I feel like we're not. Maybe I'm supposed to play that there. I don't know, if I play this out and they sweep me, I just die. I'm just not gonna win the race against their zombies now, though, right? So, like, after I play a game like that, people are like, okay, board in your Settle the Wreckages. This isn't a Settle the Wreckage matchup. I know it feels bad to, like, lose that game with Disdainful Stroke in hand and then making a bunch of zombies, but I'm pretty confident that my game plan is good here. Maybe I'm going to cut 1 stroke for a Shacklegeist. Maybe 8 counters is too many and I only want 7. I mean, we would have lost that game even if I hadn't held up stroke, right? If I had played the 2-3 out the turn before, they'd be at 11, and I'd have 9 power in play, and I'd still be dying the following turn. So. Holding up a counterspell or not didn't really matter. Yeah, how many fields they had is definitely a big deal. I should technically wait to play this till their end step, but whatever. Get that auto pass value in. Nailed the 3rd land. Love it. Don't shatter me, daddy. Well, we're not getting shattered at least. Glass half full, not getting shattered. Oh, wait, this is no, that is a white land. I was like, wait, that's not a white land. Could get shattered next turn. Aye, aye, aye. Aye, aye, aye. Aye, aye, aye. Shatter in the sky. Do, do, do. Boo, do, do. Do, do, do. We are gonna die. Thanks, Glacier, I tried. I had several people tell me I'm now their favorite Disney princess, so I feel like I'm obligated to continue delivering song for them. Yeah, Sailor's a great pickup. Kyle, thanks for the 22 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. I'm your second favorite Disney princess behind Thor. God bless. I'll play second fiddle with Thor. It's only fair. All right. Slow and steady. Man, I would love if we got the Innistrad cycle of utility lands. I think that would be phenomenal. Yeah, that's very reasonable and beatable. Yep, definitely both of those things. So, I think I'm actually supposed to draw a card here because our out here is running flash creatures. So, I need to try and draw another one. So am I going Nebel plus Sailor, or am I going Sailor draw a card? If I go Nebel plus Sailor, I have 2 shots to draw a Lord next turn and kill them, which I think is the play. I guess they're only making 1 more zombie this turn though. So if they make a zombie at my end step, that's 6 attack in play. And then they can bolt me with Ugin, so that's 9 total. I think because I'm not dead on their next turn, I'm supposed to Sailor and draw. I think if they were lining up to 15 me, I would be okay. And like, even if they like end step Growth Spiral, like we're not dead to Growth Spiral, we're not dead to second Ugin. I think I want the extra card draw rather than the threat this turn. And we're gonna draw the Lord here and feel silly, obviously, but it is what it is. Maybe I'm supposed to play Watcher of the Skies to force them to minus the Ugin. Is a potential line. I'm gonna be done with this one. This was a rough set. It was a I was optimistic for this one after the last couple of times that we had played it, but I'm going to go ahead and downgrade it on my site for sure. I feel like, and obviously, like, you know, our sample size is anecdotal. I think this archetype felt reasonable against decks that were different sets than what we played against here today. This deck uniquely felt really bad against decks full of sweepers and spot removal, and I don't know that you can really meaningfully improve those matchups without fundamentally changing what the deck is doing. I think if you want to play an evasive tempo deck against decks full of sweepers and spot removal, do I have it in my deck editor? I don't. I think mono blue tempos probably a better choice, like the Protect the Queen style decks that are playing like a bunch of spell pierces and dive downs and curious obsessions and stuff like that, so you can generate card advantage, have a more constant flow of counter spells, because you don't want more threats against these sweeper spot removal decks. You want one good threat, and then you want to keep it alive. Alright. We're not done with Magic yet for the day. We've been pumping out 2 decks a day. So up next, we are going to revisit an old favorite here in Yarok Field. We'll be back in just a little bit. Thanks for hanging out today, folks. Don't go anywhere.